Why am I taking that risk?
Oh, so you're looking to knock some shit down raw?
Even without raw, you ain't gotta be raw. I mean, I like to kiss.
Fair enough.
I like to eat. I mean, yeah, you can do dental dams and all that, but I
didn't know that. Okay.
Three of us at the table and all have a similar perspective on the exchange for feminine. Just three different backgrounds, three different experiences. Because the majority, and it's kind of a flip, the majority, I would say, going to a strip club is like, for some people, what's that called, respite, or like a sanctuary. Like, it's just like the greatest thing available. Because part of what you're saying, even prostitution, it cuts out any of the work, any of the risk. It's like, just the exchange. Give me what I want, done, walk out.
Yeah. Swingers clubs, same thing. I know brothers who go down there, and it's like, I just go in there and stand there until somebody comes along and says, here.
That's how it works. I don't know.
I mean, if you got the right body and look,
Interesting.
It's funny enough, because coming from Dallas, coming to Atlanta, 5-6 years before I actually went to a strip club. I never had the intentionality because I never spent money. I've probably given away, because I won't say I had to pay for it. Right. I find the context, if you don't value it that much, it's just not that hard to come by. But just the reverse of that, coming to Atlanta, the South, what do you think? I've heard the same story. I moved to Atlanta, it just wasn't a priority. I went for a friend's bachelor party, was it last year? That's the first reason. I don't have a reason to go back. It just, what's the commonality on some grown man shit conversation? The space that three masculine men, different experience, all that background, the commonality of exchange for sex, exchange for feminine energy. And there's validity and depth too. Because even deeper than getting a nut, there's conversations out there where guys just want the attention, the softness,
and that's actually the whole idea of. I mean, there've been times, especially over the last couple of years during COVID and all that, and I'm working from home all by myself. Ain't nobody else in my house. I'm like, I understand why men pay for it. Like, that was the first time I really understood it. I ain't even gotta fuck it. Like, just come over here and lay next to me for a minute. You know, that whole physical affection. I remember when I was up in New York, when I was growing up there, they say New York is one of the loneliest places in the world, even though it's full of people. Where I remember reading when I was a kid that people on the subways will brush up against other people just to get physical contact because they don't have it anywhere else in their life, you know? So that physical contact is huge. And if you're not getting it for whatever reason or enough of it,
oh man,
you want it from someplace.
I mean, money is merely the exchange of value, right? So it's there's no, everything we buy is an emotion. You buy a car, it's a feeling it will give you every. So it's just, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything shameful or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
It's just
it's human.
I just never had to think about it in that way. But as you said, you didn't even have to until that moment where it's like, okay, I can't go.
Right.
You know, that's how I felt about the apps, where it's like, at the time with COVID, you know, my girl at the time, we weren't together. And I was like, dang, I can't just leave and go
leave and go find somebody.
So it's like, oh. And so that's when I got an appreciation for that. So I get where, like, different contexts. But in Japan, I was talking to a homeboy about this recently, but probably shouldn't share the whole details. Well, nobody
don't give names. Just don't give names.
Well, it wasn't him. Well, you know.
Hypothetically, is this, if somebody was in Japan, what would their experience be? Let's say that.
Well, it wasn't even that. Well, a friend told me his friend had a very sophisticated toy, right? And so felt like a real human. Let's just say that.
Okay.
So you know, that I brought that up to say, you know, if you think about the context of somebody, and that's another level, right? You go from physical to shit. You know, right?
Yep.
It gets it done, and you put it in the closet, right? That's I was like, but you know, it's easy to judge that. And he was like, but in Japan, that's how it came up. We're talking about loneliest places. I mean, Japan may be, you know, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or it's a mixture of, but it you know, with the declining birth rates and probably just, again, I don't know enough about the culture to really go in detail, but it could be the case that, you know, the cultural part, the men are very weak, you know, and so even if the woman, all the cultural barriers on top of it, even if she didn't want to give him some pussy, it's like, you're such a wimp that I can't even get around. I'm trying my best to get in this name.
Wow.
So, you know,
See, I hadn't heard that conversation.
right? But if you think about that, the guy's like, well, damn, you know. And so I bring that Japan up because I think that's where that thing got invented.
The toy?
Yeah,
They're
sure.
doing a lot. I'm a tech person, so they're doing a lot with robotics and AI over there. And I've been telling folk for years that we're probably 15, 20 years max before we have fully lifelike androids walking around our apartments that will clean our apartments, wash our dishes, and fuck us. In which case, for men and women, I think it's going to change how we relate to each other drastically.
Science fiction type shit.
I mean, it really does sound like it, but like you said, the Japanese toys are already so lifelike. You take the Japanese toys with the Chat GPT and the OpenAI AI stuff and the stuff that Google and Microsoft are doing, you put those two things together?
But it's just, I guess, again, it's the struggle again to get because the fundamental thing isn't even at least for me, isn't which is why I think I couldn't get with the idea of paying for it. It's not the pride, it's the, I mean, a woman can try to give me stuff, whatever, right? It's I gotta want you. Like, I gotta, it's not merely about sticking your dick in a hole. So,
real good. So like the for above average.
Right.
as far as per people,
Man,
The
that's
man.
right, fair enough.
For men who like to, because what you're describing to me sounds like the hunt. There are men who are good at the hunt and who can hunt. Like your boys, like I have verbal game, I got physical game, I got this game, I got that. Everybody's got their game, but if like for those who don't have that game, for the 400-pound, 5-foot dude, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but realistic, and the same for a woman. It's like there's a small segment of society that's going to be attracted and pursue that. And a small segment of society that's going to actually say, I want that. So it makes it that much harder for them to overcome and figure out their game. And at some point, it's a whole lot easier to say, I'm going to go buy this AI and stay in my house.
So that brings the containment, and I think even back full circle with the passport bros. So the conversation is that it's easier. As it occurs to me, the conversation is it's so high stakes that both men and women are opposed to it, whatever that is. But it's that much of a phenomena that it is easier to go abroad just to get access to sex or relationships, quality women. And I asked it out of validity, is it really that bad? And saying that, acknowledging everyone at this table is above average, because just in the mentality, just in the masculine grounding, like these aren't conversations that you have to entertain. Right. And that's where I'm looking around. For me, it occurs that, speaking of containment, your capacity to be with, in my experience, is exactly what leaves the choices or the feminine response where you're not getting what you want. Now, yes, it is easier to go elsewhere, and whether it's toys, whether it's prostitution, strip clubs, or wherever you get the fix, the context of it being easier than speaks to still the challenge. What puts us in that top 10% is not like money, fame, or any big generality. It's just masculine ground. It's fucking free. So it's like that context gives me the understanding there's such a missing in general for the average man of, well, you can put yourself in the top 10%. You can get your money right. You can get your body right. You can get your game right. You can get your mind right. You can, masculine as it lives, evolves and grows. And there's a missing of masculine distinction in society in general. And I think that's what puts all shit haywire. But to that, the passport bros conversation, that's my take and thoughts on it. I'm curious what y'all's understand, because I want to get the sample, the versatility. Is it that bad? Is it that hard for an average guy to get his shit together to some degree where you are not sexless, missing feminine, unable to get what it is that you want. Is it that frustrating? Is it that challenging? Are the women out there that bad? Or is it just easier?
So there's one thing that easier. Okay, let me make this point. For brothers who are even above average, there's also a level of peace you get from going overseas. Going over there, getting what you need, and leaving, you avoid drama. So there's that aspect of, well, you mentioned that earlier when you said something about peace. It's like there's peace, there's ease, and there's accessibility. All of those things combined, so to attract all different levels of men to leave, I would think.
But you also have to think about the demographics of the guys who are going there. They're not 20-year-olds. You know what I mean?
And that's true. How old are they? How old are these men? We haven't talked about that.
One of the content creators, or I guess influencers, I would say a representation of a new wave, because he is putting out new content. Austin Hollum, cat out of Dallas, D-Town, 23. Okay. And that was in the discussions, because they're talking about the men, women hating and whatnot, and they're talking about there is the typical, the guys that are able to transition, be over there, relocate, start a life, have choice in what they want to do, are retired, older, military, or have unplugged from necessity, survival, needing a 9-to-5. And, this is specifically a content creator, but they're also speaking to guys that are taking advantage of the digital nomad age now.
Everybody's working remote.
Same things, exactly. As long as you can sustain yourself, it is cheaper. As long as you can offer your services online and basically learn how to take care of yourself, there is validity to and options. It's more accessible to go international, to have a passport and go get access.
I've always had intentions to sample them all, right? It's not. I don't think that has anything to do with that means you're a passport, where you're just every guy on earth is a passport, bro.
It's the market.
That's
and in America, you don't have to leave the States to sample them all.
Right, but there's a difference between, I'm sure, an Italian woman and an Italian descent in America or something like that.
Culture,
right? It's a different experience. But back to like the reason. To me, it seems more of it's less. I am below average and can't get. So I think it's more I can get. And what I'm getting with it, I don't want. Right? It's not. It's not necessarily. I don't think most guys just cannot find a woman at all.
There are a lot that can't. You'd be surprised.
I was going to say the statistic is like 80% of men are either sexless in the last 12 months or virgins. Under 30, 80%. I don't know specifically 85%, but literally the majority are. I guess it would be incels.
But I think those are choices. Though. They could get some.
It's a different world.
It's not those they want. But it's sort of what I mean.
If you have, if you're a virgin.
At the end of the day, men fuck sheep. So
I'm saying if you're a virgin.
But I'm not. I hear you.
It's not the pussy you want, it's the pussy you need. Like Batman on that shit.
I don't know. I don't buy those statistics, but I could be in the echo chamber, right? But. I mean, beyond that, again, I don't think it's merely a case of, even if they're going to pay, they can pay for women here. It's not, I don't think it's merely, because I don't think most passport bros are saying are in their 20s. Like, even if that's a newer subsection or subsegment of them, like the original were older guys, probably been through 2-3 divorces. And
that goes back to what I was saying about the Vietnam War. Post-Vietnam War, post every war we've ever had, especially African Americans, but across the spectrum, we abandoned this country for better opportunities.
But yet then you think, what is the opportunity they're going for? Peace is a big thing when you're at that age. Peace is a big thing. Right. As when you're younger, you're willing to, but after 30 years of whatever the hell you just went through, their perception may be, man, I just want to chill out and da 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 da.
I just want to chill out and da da da. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so they find a nice, compliant woman, young, attractive, and so you can imagine why that would be not accepted, right? If you're a woman that is either past her prime or
because that's competition,
or
yeah.
or you're not past your prime, but that sugar daddy that would have been in the States just got scooped up, right?
Right.
And so that's these other women are, even though it's not their fault, they're encroaching on your market share, right?
Facts.
And so you got to think about it. Why would you be happy about it? Like, okay, I could have had Bob.
But she couldn't have.
Well,
Could
technically. But I don't want to have to.
Well,
I don't want to have to become what that woman is.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So it's like, but I still like. I mean, you should be a man and deal with it, right? Somebody I heard explain it. I was like, okay, I've paid for it. Like, he was good with like verbally seducing women, not just like game, but like actual. So older guy. And so he's like, okay, only when I was like in Amsterdam or something like that, because I believe it's legal, where I actually did, because I couldn't verbally, I didn't speak English or something like that. I couldn't. So it's like, fuck it, I need to get my nut busted, whatever. So that was the only time I could hear our case for like, I mean, because if you go to the Philippines, it's not even a thing of, you're there for 7 days. I mean, a man going abroad, especially if you go, well, not alone, but with a boy or something like that. A part of a man's experience as a single man is the women.
It's to experience that, yeah.
Right. And so the idea of 7 days, you went, man, I had a great time, but you didn't touch nothing. It's kind of like,
I don't know that I would not touch it. I am pretty sure I would stop.
Use a glove.
We gotta touch.
But I'm not catching nothing.
But to me, that's always been my thing. It's like, I ain't trying to catch nothing,